We did a piece as a part of things you might not have heard for today, the 11th of August, about Trump adding federal patrols to D.C. because of the crime that's rampant in the streets. We did that with a couple of notes. We didn't have any big detail, but now I have some actual details. Thanks, ChatGPT-5, for giving us some stats that are more along the lines of the reality, or at least what's being reported as reality. You talk to Trump and he'll tell you what reality he wants to. Violent crime in D.C. is actually down, and down significantly. According to police data they have, like real-time data, homicides are down 12%, assaults with a weapon down by 20%, robberies down by 28%, with a total violent crime, as we said earlier, about 26% through last year, decrease over 7% over year to year over the past couple of years. And so that's what we have in actual stats coming from D.C. The problem is Donald Trump has had a recent deployment of hundreds of federal agents just triggering a high-profile after being triggered by a high-profile carjacking involving an former aide, a Deutsche aide from him, that made it troubling for him, seeing that there's all this crime because it attacked at one guy. Troubling, but local authorities note that such incidents don't reflect a broader pattern, and it wasn't something that was initially targeted. It was a random act where two 15-year-old kids, or a bunch of 15-year-olds, were trying to carjack somebody. Two 15-year-olds were actually arrested for this one. And crime has been consistent, because it always is, but also consistently declining, as it has been for the past 2 years in D.C. Critics, including D.C. officials and civil rights advocates, are saying the federal deployment is extreme, much like what happened in Los Angeles, and essentially politically motivated. It's a show. The move risks overrunning local autonomy, and especially given D.C.'s special status and constitutional protections under the Home Rule Act. D.C. is a district that is the nation's capital, but it does not reside anywhere other than itself. It exists on its own. It actually has no representation, no real representation in Congress. Someone sits there in a seat and says, hey, I'm from D.C. They can't vote on anything because they are not a state. We've mentioned that before. And because of that, Donald Trump is really starting to push his weight because of what's going on, because that's what he does. The mayor of D.C., Muriel Bowser, is acknowledging that the reduction in crime and welcoming targeted federal support, but legal resources and coordinated operations have to be coordinated and legal, rejecting the notion that the crime has spiked in D.C. because of one federal worker being attacked. This is not what should be happening, and a federal takeover of D.C. martial law in a case is not exactly the best way to run things, because one guy got attacked. The more agents on the ground, more boots on the ground, if you will, may deter crime in high foot traffic areas and bring visible assurance to publicize incidents out there. But political overreach. Does this need to happen? Is it that important? Is it really that big of a deal? Most will say no, because the crime data does not actually support the general spike that Donald Trump believes is happening, or believes he has a right to do something for because he believes there's a spike. And civil liberties will probably be addressed, not in the best way, as there are more people out there dealing with the loss of trust because the federals are now in charge of patrolling the streets. Remember, the data in D.C. shows that crime is trending downward. So Trump's federal response seems like it doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't. The response seems less than a public safety emergency and more like a political throw out there because he can do it. Isolated incidents can spike public concern. Essentially, you think something is bigger because something happens near you. Doesn't mean the actual numbers are that big, or that the actions near you are actually that big. It's just the one hit that's there. Not that that's a great thing. Not that crime itself is, something you have to live with, but it exists. It'll be there. And with the numbers trending down, and not just being stable, but trending as less and less every year, it doesn't represent a citywide trend of things getting worse in D.C., but things getting better. Your mileage may vary. Your part of town may seem like things are the same or worse, but you got to remember the difference between how things seem and the data you can actually collect to tell the actual difference. Tell me your thoughts on the federalization of local agencies and local places, because Trump says they're dangerous and wants to, throw his weight around, because that's essentially what he's doing. Or tell me if you think the crime is actually that bad. It's conversation, it's opinions, it's what you think, it's what you know. Give me some facts, give me some details, give me some links. Do the tinfoil hat stuff if you want to. Let's have a conversation about this one, because this could be a bigger deal than we even believe.